it's just teaching on steroids, where everything about cap model, movement analysis, performance concepts, it's just extended to like the 30th degree, because you just have so many things you have to think about. So I've fallen in love with it, and that sort of is what's led over that transition. I'm on
Cool.
staff there as well.
Nice. I didn't know that.
Yeah. Well, see,
Sweet.
it's a real live interview, everyone.
Yeah, I'm
Well,
getting all the facts.
Welcome to AASI and PSIA Adaptive Edition of Meet the Staffs. This week I have Mr. Mike Ma joining me virtually through Zoom. So any hiccups or weird video glitches you may see, it's all through the internet. Please bear with us. It's a little bit on the longer side. The first part we get to know Mike, and the second part we get to learn a little bit more about adaptive. Personally, I do not know much about adaptive, so I'm pretty pumped on this interview, and I can't wait to interview a few more adaptive folks. It is all on the lineup, so please bear with me as I get these out slowly, but I'll try and speed it up. Sit back and enjoy. Boom.
Let's start over. Geez, I work at Mount Snow in Vermont in the able-bodied school, and also volunteer at a number of different programs, but primarily Mount Snow Adaptive.
How long have you been on the adaptive staff?
Just over 2 years, just over 2 years now, and that's how long it's been. Seems longer.
How long have you been an AASI and PSIA member?
I don't know. Let's see. Probably 13 years, 15. So I started teaching when I was 30. I'm turning 45. So probably 14 years. Someone in the office can figure that out. I spent my first year as an instructor just there for the pass and didn't care about anything, and hidden every lineup behind my snowboard so I can go snowboarding. And then I was like, you know what? I should figure out how to be good at this if I'm going to do it. And so the second year I went into AASI after that, and I figured I better start getting some education and actually know what the heck I'm doing.
Do you just have AASI certifications, or do you have other stuff?
So I'm snowboard level 3. I'm adaptive snowboard level 3, children's specialist 2, and freestyle 1. I think those are all the stickers I have. So what
made you, or what got you to transition from the snowboard into adaptive?
Holly Anderson is the short of it, but in all honesty, I think Holly Anderson in a midlife crisis. I took a run as I went through the organization and tried out for AASI Dev Team, with you, and the first time we all did it together, and I got close but didn't make it. And I think, like a lot of people, you just get frustrated and angry, and just trying to figure out where you can make the biggest difference in the world. And then I just started thinking about where I wanted to challenge and grow. And Holly brought me over to Adaptive, my first event at Adaptive Sports Foundation in Wyndham, and I fell in love with it. And I still do both, and I think great adaptive instruction is the exact same thing as snowboard instruction, as most of the membership see it. It's just teaching on steroids, where everything about cap model, movement analysis, performance concepts, it's just extended to like the 30th degree, because you just have so many things you have to think about. So I've fallen in love with it, and that sort of is what's led over that transition.
Mentioned that you started coaching snowboarding or teaching when you were 30.
Yeah. I am living proof of the old joke, like, what's the difference between a snowboard instructor and a snowboarder? Like 3 days. Like I was a lifelong skier. I got into a fight with my wife at Hunter, where I took her down while I was skiing down something, down Hellgate, which was all bumped up. And I hate you, everything's bumpy, and Steve, I never want to go with you again. And I was like, okay, I'll try snowboarding. And we leveled it out, and I fell in love with that. And so that sort of has been my transition to snowboarding. And then I moved to instruction because I was actually just a pass holder for a long time. And then I lost all my friends up in Vermont. and I needed to find people to hang out with as they had different life events, that took them away from sharing a ski house with me. And I found instruction and snowboard instruction, and here I am.
So you said you teach at Mount Snow and you volunteer in other places. Has Mount Snow been your primary place you've taught at?
It has been. It has been. I love Mount Snow. I love Southern Vermont. I've been all over, both as just teaching and also now with adaptive and working at different programs. It's home for me.
Places you volunteer because of adaptive, correct?
Yep. Primarily, there's a couple of things in places I work. I always feel like I'm a vagabond. So I spent a lot of time at Adaptive Sports at Wyndham, Adaptive Sports Foundation at Wyndham Mountain. I also, through Brandon Cook, who's really the leader of it, I also work at Mountain Creek as a trainer for our Monday Night Light series that we do there when we host more accessible training sessions on Monday nights with sort of the New York City, New Jersey area and exam prep. So eventually got to be big enough where, Tim, the director at Mountain Creek, is like, let's just put you and Brandon on staff. So I'm on staff there as well.
Nice. I didn't know that.
Yeah. Well, see,
Sweet.
it's a real live interview, everyone.
Yeah, I'm getting all the facts. Preseason musts.
Preseason musts. Let's see. Well, I'm training for a marathon, so I'm going to be running that because mostly I've just gotten bored and I need to do something to keep myself in shape. So that's a must. Trying to get my other must I'm doing right now is I'm working with a national committee to rewrite the adaptive snowboarding manual. So I'm really excited about that and make a serious dent in that before it gets we get on snow. So it's been really an honor to work with some of the other instructors across the country who are working on that. That's a big thing. Other than that, just try and survive and make sure I'm mentally ready for this season. It's obviously it's a tough time for a lot of reasons, not just COVID, but for all the messed up things happening politically in the world. So I'm actually trying to also take care of my mind to make sure that when the time's right, I'm going to be able to both perform and enjoy myself. So that's, it's been a lot of meditation and self-care, trying to get through everything like I have 3 kids, this, like 3 kids and school and work from home stresses to just trying to make sure that I'm ready for whenever we get the call to go back and slide, for sure.
You said in that brief part there, rewriting the manual for adaptive.
Yeah.
Is that a big committee of people? And what got you on that train?
7 or 8 people. It was what got me on the train. Again, it's like totally accidental. As the Eastern staff, we were trying to rewrite the test bank of questions in preparation for the upcoming year. And then my friend Christina Bruno and Rocky is heading it and said, hey, like, we need someone from Eastern to be on this. You're in. I'm like, okay. So it was, I think, like my whole snowboarding instruction career, kind of like an accidental thing, but that's how I got into it.
Nice. Right time, right place.
Yep, for sure.
Sweet. All right. So I got a 2-parter here.
Okay.
Who did you look up to as you're going through the organization, whether on the AASI side and for the adaptive side? Are they the same person or 2 different people?
Oh, wow. I think that a lot of the same person. I have to credit Holly for both. Holly did my new hire at Mount Snow and introduced me to that. So pre-cert and everything, and just that there's a science to it, to what we teach. I think also Vickery has been a huge help to me. Let's see if I think I lost my camera again. I'm going to switch this over to the regular camera. Tom Vickery was a huge help to me when I was sort of caught in between level 2 and level 3, and it was a really tough time. But he said something to me that, when I was in the, in my low point, he just looked at me and said, and it sounds so cheesy, but this is the honest to God truth. He goes, Mike, you're important to snowboarding. Like, we're going to figure this out. And, you know, that's that. I've tried to take that into my time as ed staff. You know, everyone, and not even just ed staff, but anyone I encounter and teach, like, I think every single one of them is important to snowboarding. And I tell them that. And so I think those two people have been really impactful to me. There's tons of people here, you know, between here and there, but those two stand out.
All right, Mike. Rapid fire questions.
Let's do it.
Nice. All right. Camber or reverse?
Hybrid, and I'm okay with it. Bring the hate. I don't care. I'm okay with it. Everyone come at me.
I was gonna say that's the next one, multi or flat.
But camber, like if I had to pick between camber verse, for sure camber. But I'm going hybrid. I went camber two winters ago just to recommit myself to it, and I was like, I do like it. I can way better, but I'm back on. Well,
hybrid wins out.
Go ahead. Ask the next question.
All right. Bumps or groomers?
Oh, I think you do multi.
Ah! That one just won. It's a boom, multi all the time.
Trees. No, no. I honestly, bumps. I'll take bumps.
Nice. All the little transitions.
I love bumps.
Woods or park?
Woods, hands down.
Nice. Race or freestyle?
Freestyle.
All right. Now the real important ones here. Pie or cake?
Cake for sure.
Which kind of cake?
Devil's food.
Ooh, what kind of frosting?
Like a buttercream. Yeah.
Nice.
Like a vanilla buttercream type thing.
Ooh. Definitely might have to go get some dessert after this. Waffles or pancakes?
Pancakes.
Anything in or on top of your pancakes?
Chocolate chip pancakes are a specialty in the Ma household.
Oh.
And then we also throw a lot of we'll use our sourdough starter on throw out on some of the pancakes too for the discard. So it's
nice.
A thing in our house.
Yeah, we tried sourdough pancakes and they were good. And then I got wild hair and actually bought some buttermilk and we did buttermilk pancakes and
nice.
Buttermilk waffles. Oh man. All right. Cookies or brownie?
Brownie.
Nice. Just plain chocolate brownie or you got stuff mixed in there?
You know, again, people can bring the hate, but I like a little peanut butter and chocolate and brownie. That little swirl thing, that works for me.
Yeah, sweet and savory there. What is the farthest you've had to travel to run or attend an adaptive event?
Actually, it's not far. The furthest I've had to go is, well, still Mount Snow. It's the farthest I've had to go from where I live in New York, but so that's the furthest I've had to go to run an event. Yeah, that's the furthest I've had to go to run an event. There's not many places to run. So the places I've run have been Jimmy Peak, Mount Snow, where we've done most of our events, including our level 3 exam, which was crazy, and then also Wyndham, because you need equipment, and so that those are the ones that we've been running event. Oh, we also did staff training up at Loon at New England Disabled Sports, or NEDS for short. That's probably actually NEDS is the farthest we have been for an event, although we didn't run it. It was staff training.
All right. So yeah, so a lot of moving parts then there.
There's a lot of moving parts.
All right, and you said you go from New Jersey up to Mount Snow.
I'm in New York, but I'm just over the Jersey border.
I apologize.
It's okay. It's all good.
I knew you were in that little zone down there. You got a road trip snack because you're doing that every weekend. Pringles. Like, the only thing is they're hard to get out of the can, so I have to like kind of just shove them all in my lap and just like pick at them. Again, I'm hideous when I'm driving. Don't look at me. That's funny. half the time I wish the Pringles had the thing like when you unwrap the Pillsbury thing and you can just like work it down. That'd be the best. Yeah. See, that would make them even more fun. All right, Mike, what's your riding style?
My riding styles, I give what the mountain, I take what the mountain gives me. And so I actually, so I really try and figure out, and this sounds hokey, but so if it's going to give me, if there's only powder on the sides, like, it's going to be short, snappy turns on, between right next to the trees. If it's going to be ripping groomers, then, we're going to go big and ride. If it's trees, then, I will always go towards the trees, if the conditions allow. But honestly, I really try and think about what the mountain's saying to me that day. And my view is whatever it's giving me, I'm down to try.
Nice. Yeah, it's kind of going with the flow.
Yeah, I don't have anything like I must do. Like I really like to think about feel. So I ride a lot by feel. I heard Greg your last time think about really technical. He's like very technical, short and snappy and explosive, which definitely that's definitely how he rides. I try to think about riding as Vickery said something. It was like that's always stuck with me. I try to overfeel instead of overthink, and whatever the product of that is where I'm going to be.
Sweet.
Honestly, that changed my riding, and it's still something I go through, particularly at higher level riders when we're doing exam prep. I really feel like that's been really useful, and it's fun.
Hey, that's what matters the most.
Getting dark here. There we
go.
go.
Getting dark in there.
Yeah. Yep.
So you're saying you like to feel things. I bet that multi-camber lets you feel all the surfaces. What's your go-to snowboard?
I just moved over to Never Summer Proto. You and I both rode Endeavor. So I also had, I rode Endeavor Maverick. Probably one of the few people who rode that, and I really enjoyed that board. But I moved over to a Proto last year. It's been a lot of fun.
Nice. They're coming out with some new Protos this year.
Yeah, I tested the synthesis or the synergy. I forget which one it is. At the Standing Sideways event at Plattekill, and it was really impressive. I'm excited to actually see what they're like whenever we get a chance to get back out. Although I did just buy a split. So
which one?
I bought a westbound split because virus or no virus, teaching or no teaching, I am going snowboarding this year. So
you had a day with good snow. What do you do? Where do you go?
Trees. I mean, no, okay, time out. I heard Greg answer this. I was like, no, the first thing it is like my general view is I'm blowing everything out that's going to get blown out first. So I have no problem. I'm going to hit every single, wide open groomer. If I can get in there first, I'm there first until it's blown out. Then I'm in the trees until I get swept by rescue.
Getting as we're winding back in, we got a little bit of how Mike Ma rides and where you like to go.
Yeah.
What do you normally teach?
Beginners like everyone else, and I love it. On both sides, adaptive and able body. My favorite lesson is the day 2 yellow lesson or however people call it. That second lesson. When you get them, and you obviously can get it in the first one too, like turn left, turn right, stop. And then you see them, they're like, that was awesome. You're like, yes. Like, what do we do now? I was like, we're going to go do that again. And so that's usually what I teach. And when I'm in group lineup, like people like, who wants to do reds, yellows? Like I got it. I'm in. I love teaching that lesson.
Is it 50-50 split? Or is it kind of like 60-40 or 80-20 on adaptive versus snowboard?
Good question. In all honesty, it's probably tilted towards able-bodied, probably 70-30, and then adaptive comes in heavy in the beginning of the season, at the end of the season, and then there's things in between.
How come so much like the big split there?
Well, there's a lot of national events. I mean, the big event is Ski Spec out at Breckenridge, which is sponsored by the Hartford, which unfortunately just got canceled not more than a couple of weeks ago. It also runs PSIA, AASI's National Academy for Adaptive as well. So it's a massive national event in usually second week of December. And it's a week long of teaching and working with warriors from all over the country. There's also clinics on every single topic you could ever imagine, every single equipment vendor as well. That's bringing all this mind-blowing new gear to the game. And then you go through. I still have my commitments to Mountain Snow, so then you kind of go into your regular. Making sure that I'm taking care of that. And then at the end of the year, there's more national events, more with Warriors, DAV, Stars, etc. I forget the other one. DAV is the big one. Again in April, but then also it's just events. There's a lot of events that as people are trying to get their certs and get ready for that. So that sort of is my adaptive kind of like use up and down. Whenever I'm cut though, I always pop into the adaptive office at Mount Snow, and we're really fortunate that our adaptive office is in the ski school. So I literally take off my blue coat. I'm just like, I roll in. I'm like, hey guys, what's up? Do you need help? and then so I'll get thrown into stuff as I have time.
Sweet. Always hustling, always moving. That's what we like to hear. The Ma family, skiing, riding together still?
Yeah. 3 snowboarders. My oldest was an assistant last year at Mount Snow. So it was like the proudest moment ever when I got to go, and we were both in our coats in the locker room, like doing instructor stuff. So that was super exciting. Elizabeth just turned 13 and is a sick rider, and Jack loves riding. He is turning 11. He'll be 11 this season. My wife was a committed skier, and I have now, and she's a strong, like an advanced intermediate skier, and I have her snowboarding too. So she can make it top to bottom, greens and blues. So I'm going to get her, but we all ride together. We all ski together. We all enjoy it. I would say me and the kids are stronger, and my wife will come when the spirit moves her.
Hey, nothing wrong with that. Just got to feel it.
Yep.
So after a day of riding, whether it's working or riding with the fam, what do you do?
Head home, cook food, listen to music, sit by the fire, tell stories, play board games, and have a couple of adult beverage to relive the day. That's sort of what we like to do.
Nice. Is there a consistent beverage, or it's all pretty good?
Ooh, not outing myself. You could find me with obviously a post-ride beer is great. But then, when I'm home in the fireplace, just a little nip of scotch may find its way into my glass for the night.
Which marathon are you running?
I don't know. I've just like I don't think I have. I don't know the answer to your question. I've marked on my calendar. My birthday is October 25th, so I think weather dependent, I'm going to go and try and run then, and I've kind of aligned my training around that. I may sign up for either New York or one of the other virtual ones. I don't really care. I just want to do it for me. So
Sweet.
It could just be the Mike Ma marathon with my watch. That's it.
Nothing wrong with that. Becoming ever so popular.
Yeah.
I think it's just getting everybody more active, which is nice.
Yep. It's been fun. It's just a good release for me. Just it gets crazy, and having some time to yourself is always useful.
You put tunes in when you're running, or just listening to the cars?
On long runs, on really long, like the long weekend runs, I will. But like on short runs, I won't. Or I've been listening to a lot of audiobooks too, trying to get in the process.
You got to soak it all in.
Trying to.
It'll get it all in there. How can people get in touch with you, or how can they follow you if you're okay with that?
Sure. I'm on, I think, every single one of the Facebook groups, AASI East, PSIA East. PSIA Adaptive, which actually is a national Facebook group. I'm on Instagram as Michael W. Ma is my handle across everything. So that's probably the best way to get a hold of me. And you can find me in any of those Facebook groups or social media, Michael W. Ma, and you will encounter me somewhere.
All right.
Yeah, that's what I spend my time doing tech stuff, doing startup stuff. If anyone is an aspiring entrepreneur of any sort, like also find me. I love talking about entrepreneurs and business. So I could dork out like that as much as we could dork out about snowboarding.
If you were to go on a trip, where would you go?
Oh, I'd go back to AK.
Yeah. You went there for the Tailgate Alaska?
Yeah, I went tailgate in 15. I'm not sure I'd do tailgate again. It was an awesome experience. Maybe just go on my own, but I mean, there's snowboarding, and like it was awesome. And then you can't compare like when you get out of a helicopter and it's just nothing but clean sheets for miles, and so definitely
Sweet.
I'd go back to AK. Japan is on the list as well. I have that as a thing to do with my oldest son, Sean, before he goes, because he loves Japanese culture and snowboarding. So, but right now, for what I know, AK, I'd go back to Thompson's Pass in a second.
If you had to stay here on the East, where would you?
Where to go? I
Vacation it?
No, I mean, I have my heart for Mount Snow. I mean, but like I had such a blast every time I go up to Jay. It's just off-piste for days. The last time, was when you were trying out for Easter team for the first time, and I was just goofing around up there, and that was my first Jay experience. And I was like, this is,
there was so much snow.
It was so much snow, and it was just a little cold, if I remember. But it was, Jay does it for me, and the poutine.
Ooh, yes, that is good. I might have to start a running count on how many times Jay Peak is the Eastern.
I know. Greg said it, and I was like, I'm gonna give the same boring answer, but you know what? It's the truth. It's the truth.
Nothing wrong. I do like going up there. And you did just mention something. Eastern team. Are you going to the next tryout or this coming tryout?
I am. So I'm going along with you. I'm excited for this. I was really bummed in April. I don't know how you felt.
I was bummed and a little relieved. I don't know.
I was just bummed. I'm going for adaptive snowboard, or just adaptive in general. There's no equipment specific and adaptive on for the tryout. So Augie Young and I are out as a skier, and me as a snowboarder representing the East. And I'm really excited. I'm really excited for that.
Sweet.
Scared too, like you, scared, right? Totally scared.
It's the nerves and everything. It's like, part of me is like, one more year. It's like, we're gonna get so much more, but everybody's doing it. It's gonna be wicked.
Yeah, I'm excited. I'm excited for that. I know you are too, to get back out there.
Yep, I gotta buy my Epic Pass so I can have a lot of days. So do you have to bring the equipment, or does each resort or adaptive place sponsor it or donate it? Or
so ideally the hosting program will have the equipment needed. Often if people are missing, either they don't have enough, let's say, outriggers or bi-skis, there's an agreement to loan out equipment from one program to another, and actual paperwork to assume the liability, so on and so forth. So
okay.
The answer is it just depends, and whatever we need to make an event go.
How many events have you gotten to run so far?
Probably 4 or 5. I can't count. Probably 4 or 5. In adaptive, it's hard. We schedule tons of events. They're hard to go. I think 4 or 5. Let's see. So 3 level 2 modules, 3 level. So 6. So 3 level 3s. And one I got to run by myself, which was fun. Um,
Nice.
so yeah, it's hard to get events to go off in adaptive just because our membership is very small. The difference from most of able-bodied mountain schools is that they're also volunteers. So
Hmm.
trying to find time just to teach is a big commitment, and then trying to do exams and costs. It's a slightly different type of member. So again, events are a little bit tougher from a volume basis.
Okay. Were they all the same event? I know you did mention there was level 2, level 3.
No, so we have a couple things that are so there's different tracks of level. So level one is it like AASI and your Alpine is a 2-day exam, and they'll have a focus of either VI or developmentally disabled, or it'll have a stand-up focus. So anatomical, injuries. But when you get to level 2 and level 3, the current certification standards have you need to be a specialist in all the disciplines to acquire a level 2 certification from stand-up. VIDD is what the shorthand for visually impaired and development disablement, and then also mono and biski, so sit down. So you need to be able to do all those, plus pass the same level 2, level 3 riding standards and skiing standards. That's true for snowboard and alpine. So those modules are often broken off one at a time versus like a big glom and exam like we do on the AASI side. It mimics a little bit more some of the things that happen on the alpine side where they'll pick off certain modules. So it's not one event. It was the level ones were events unto themselves, but at level 2 and level 3, and there aren't many level 3 events in adaptive, but level 2 events have been 1 or 2, a module here, a module there, a module there.
Mm-hmm. Which one's your favorite so far?
Yeah, level 1. I mean, level 1 is when you get people to understand, they connect like, wow, like that you've capstoned all their experience into structure, and they realize it's the beginning of, this is not just something you do, there's a real craft and a science behind it. And you see their eyes explode like, oh my God, I never thought, and you see the camaraderie being built, especially in adaptive, because there's not many of us. So when we give out a level 1 pin, or we award a level 1 pin, it's true of all aspects of being part of a community. You are for all the disciplines, but I think it just, because there's so few of us, it really is a small kindred spirit of it. The other aspect is that's really I love about level 1 is that I'm relatively new to adaptive, and I feel my experience has been really useful from ski school and ride school. But there's a lot of profiles of athletes and disabilities that I've never encountered, and when they say, I write things, I'm like, I've never heard of that. That's awesome. Like, I'm stealing that right away. And we always, again, things that you say on the able-bodied side, but I can tell you it's doubly true. I steal stuff all the time. In a level 1, is like, I've never thought about running, particular progression that way, or with that kind of athlete.
So you're getting as much out of one of those events as the people you're taking it.
Absolutely. Just because the breadth of knowledge you have to have about so many different athlete profiles, pieces of equipment, like it's dizzying to try and keep up with it all.
Yeah, there's a lot of moving parts. More than I can fathom. I every now and again peer at the books and I'm like, holy guacamole.
But here's the thing. But this is the part that I've been in. If anyone's interested in adaptive, we did a webinar a couple weeks ago with my former dev team. Those that we on the dev team together, both skiers and snowboarders. It's the same stuff, right? The equipment, outriggers, rider bars, poles, etc. all they do is just create different structures for success of making the board go or the equipment go from edge, flat, edge. That's
All right.
it. Like, so if anyone's interested in it, like you shouldn't be in, the thrust of that discussion we had is if you're on the able-bodied side, interested in adaptive, don't get in that, don't be scared of the equipment. And if you're on the adaptive side, don't fall in love with the equipment. The equipment is not a crutch. You still need to teach the athlete how to go from edge, flat to edge. And it's the same stuff.
All right. Yeah, makes sense. I like it there.
Yeah, you probably know a lot more than you think, Guns. And I bet if I brought, if I brought you on any adaptive lesson, I know you'd add an enormous amount of value. Just watching the, from the wealth of experience that you have, just watching and adding your wisdom.
Yeah, maybe I'll get to tag along one time this year.
Gotcha.
Yes.
Gotcha. I'm holding you to it.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, I get working at Bolton and Sugarbush. We do have some pretty big.
I'm sure Norm would love to work with you at Vermont Adaptive, especially with that new
Yeah.
facility they're building over there on Ellen.
Ooh, I didn't know that.
Yeah.
So I meet all those guys usually first weekend in December, and then they go back over to Ellen, and I'm always stuck at Lincoln. So I guess I got to go to Mount Ellen more.
Yeah. No, man. Thanks for doing this. It was great to see Greg, and I was honored you asked. Sucks for you. You have to edit this, and sorry for that. But no, I hope everyone out there is staying safe, and hopefully we'll be out there soon.